Brother and sister are fighting. Mom tells them to stop. Sister says, but he started it. Brother says, she did. Mom says, I don't care, just stop. Dad says, honey, let them fight. Mom says, it's driving me crazy. Grandma enters and says, don't argue in front of the kids. Grandpa enters and says, honey, don't tell them how to raise their kids. That's easy enough to follow, but wow, 6 conflicts stacked. The kids fight. Their fight about who started it. Mom about stopping it. Mom and dad about trying to stop it. Grandma about arguing in front of the kids. Grandpa about telling the parents what to do. It's about in a city. Quite the clusterflux. Shouldn't they get back to the basics? Stick with the root problem instead of spinning out stacked arguments like this? Yeah, but the root is just what they're arguing about. They each have a different idea about what's the bottom line among these layers. They each want the decisive last word, but that's the problem with layered arguments and words in general. For every last word, other words can be said against them. Words tempt us to claim last words that further words can always overpower and undermine. Here I want to talk about layers and how to be what I call multi-level headed. Let's start with games because they're simple. I'll end with something complex, an explanation for what life really is. Remember the card game War? You try to collect all the cards. Players each play a card face up at the same time. The highest card takes the cards played. Do that until one player has all the cards and wins. There's only one other rule. When players play the same high card, it's war. The tied players each play 3 cards, face down and then one face up, the highest of which takes the heap, except in the rare case that there's another high card tie, in which case they repeat it up a level. They can go as many levels as they want. Higher levels emerge from lower level ties or stalemates. If those kids weren't fighting, there'd be no fight about who started it or whether to stop it. A fight is something you can fight about. Conflicts require umpires, or you could say uppires, an up-level debate or decision about how to resolve it. It's called going meta, with meta meaning about, as in meta-cognition, which means thinking about thinking. Meta-arguing is arguing about your argument. And there's no limit. You can argue about arguing, like in this skit.
I told you.
You did not.
Yes, I did.
You did not.
Yes, I did.
Didn't.
Yes, I did.
Didn't.
Yes, I did.
No, this isn't an argument.
Yes, it is.
No, it isn't. It's just contradiction.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is.
It is not.
It is. You just contradicted me.
No, I didn't.
Oh, you did.
No.
You did just then.
No nonsense.
Oh, look, this is futile.
No, it isn't.
Going meta can resolve or escalate a conflict. You go meta when you say, how about we stop arguing for now and come back to it when we're both not so upset? You also go meta if you say, I know why we're arguing and it's all your fault. I call that trumpiring. Posing as the last word to trump your opponent. Okay, so how does this relate to life? The object of most games and conflicts is to end them by winning, which makes ties frustrating. Such ties are called alternating dominance. This side's ahead, no that side, no this side. In contrast, the object of life is staying alive. Not game over, but keeping the alternating dominance going. A living being is a multi-level system of alternating dominances, checks and balances, or more accurately, balanced checks, opposing forces keeping each other in check, preventing each other from unchecked runaway behavior. It's fun to run the board in a board game, the way one does in Monopoly with enough property bought that you're just raking it in. But that's exactly what we don't want in life. Cancer runs the board unchecked until it's game over. People typically assume that something was added to chemistry to make it come alive. Actually, nothing was added. Life is a level above chemistry that emerged from chemical processes pitted against each other in alternating dominance, keeping each other in check, preventing runaway processes. When we die, our chemical remains are freer to do whatever, because what disappeared was the checks and balances, not some added something. You are a system of balanced checks, kind of like an organization whose employees keep each other in line, unable to engage in unchecked runaway behavior. Life is more like a house of cards than a card game. Card games have strict rules imposed from the outside. An organism is like level upon level of cards tented against each other, keeping each other from falling. Human life is very complex, layer upon layer of checks and balances, way more complex than the 6 levels in the Family Feud. Life has become so complex that people blow a fuse, claiming simplistic, self-serving last words, trying to overrun and overrule all rivals so they win the game that life isn't. The more sustainable approach is to develop what I'll call multi-level headedness, getting better at understanding how levels emerge and how to zoom in and out between them. Here are just a few tips for doing that. 1. Get better at tracking the levels the way we did with the Family Feud. Be a rung runner, able to climb up and down the ladder to visit different levels of analysis. 2. Don't claim last words like you've got some trumpiring overview. And don't let others do that either. We're all tempted to focus on the root cause where we have an advantage, like the buck stops wherever we can pocket it. Resist the temptation. Be careful when going meta. Processing your relationship by pretending you're the neutral umpire is often bullying disguised as neutrality. And 3, when you need to say something controversial, caveat it as your opinion. Others know it's your opinion. Show them that you know it is too, not the last word we're all so tempted to claim from on high. Yeah, I know you get this from all the influencers, but they don't mean it. I do. Please subscribe. You just clicking that little button makes a huge difference for me. Thanks a lot.